activity from the companies, from corporates to start spending as well because they have to keep up with government. So we can see more activity on corporate spending as well in order to expand their balance sheets and to keep up with the growing demands of the economy. So next year, 7% GDP growth. For this year, we're just looking at 6 for 2019. So next year would be a much more favorable year for the Philippines. Hopefully we can see 7% again. And lower interest rates ahead. Definitely, the PSP will continue to deliver. And again, I think the other day, the BSP governor was again quoted by saying that, in fact, he's looking at a possible cut again in the next monetary board. And this was after what he mentioned before, that there's already a stop on policy rate cuts this year. But I think he was quite surprised with the low inflation figure that he may consider, and the monetary board can consider again another cut before the end of the year. So again, that would be very supportive of growth for especially coming 2020. But next year, we expect a resumption of the RRR cut. I think they're very keen on delivering a single-digit reserve requirement for banks. And again, just to remind you, every 100 basis points RRR cut would release about 90 to 100 billion pesos in the system. So it'll enable banks to be more liquid and to be able to deploy those liquidity and help companies expand. So definitely interest rates will go down, but not at the same magnitude from what we've seen this year. So as interest rates start to go down, the attractiveness of the equity market will even be more highlighted. So what do we see in the near term? Again, just to summarize everything, a possibility of a year's recession is still there, the next 12 months, but if ever it happens, it will just be shallow. Inflation will still be benign, but a slight uptick next year. We're looking at about 3% for next year. Reserve requirement cut will continue, probably another 200 to 300 basis points. The 10-year yield from at 4.5, the next few months we can see it 4.2, and a possible 4% in the near term. And the US 10-year yield, I think as the US economy continues to be threatened with a recession fear, then all the more that the US Fed should maintain interest rates low in the US. So we're looking at about 1.5 to 1.7%. Right now it's about 1.8% of the 10-year US. On the dollar peso, it's a range between 50.7 to 52, but I think it should be closer to the 51.50 level for averaging for next year. And we continue to see a strong PSCI recovery for 2020, based on an 18 times PE and 10.4% earnings growth. Based on our bottom-up computation, it should hit 9,460 for end of 2020. So at 7.8 to 9.5, it's a huge upside from where it is at the moment. So I think fundamentally, the companies are continuously registering strong growth. If GDP continues to expand, and all the more we can hopefully see PSEI break all-time high as early as next year. So with this, I'll leave you with just the economic forecasts for next year. And probably be open to some questions, and thank you for listening.